Hope you will all enjoy this. And I'll just give you the slide share. Yeah. Okay. So let's learn something about what is diabetes, the facts, fads, and fallacies. There is lots of myths about diabetes. You do get a lot of it on the Google, as well as your WhatsApp, as well as your Facebook, Twitter, many things. You would be getting a lot of it. Let's just go through this in the basic format and this try to understand what is right and wrong. So we all know we have a system which consists of a digestive system, and I'm not going into the other systems. The digestive system, which consists of your stomach, your liver, your pancreas, your intestine, and the most important in managing your diabetes is your stomach and the liver and the pancreas. So why pancreas is important? We'll just go through that. And this is the pancreas, and this is one of the important organ in managing your entire metabolism, your digestion. Just let us take this. This is the anatomical form of your pancreas, which contains cells. These are 3 different cells. Actually, there are 4 cells. I don't know if I can minimize this because sometimes it's coming in the middle. Okay. So it has got different cells, and these cells are like alpha cells, beta and delta cells, and you have others also. But this pancreas has got 2 different functions. One is its exocrine function, the other is the endocrine function. The exocrine function controls your digestion, means your carbohydrate, protein, fat, whatever you eat, how it is digested and what should be the end product. That is controlled by the exocrine part of it. The endocrine controls your glucose metabolism. So we'll just go little into this. So this exocrine part, like I mentioned, the carbohydrate, protein, fat. So how exactly the pancreas works with the exocrine? It takes all the enzymes it produces the enzymes which are important in digestion of your carbohydrate. So like the amylase, which is very important in digestion of the breakdown of the starch to glucose. Then you have the protease enzymes, which are proteolytic enzymes, which break down your proteins and form the amino acids. And similar to that, you have lipase, which works on the fat and it releases fatty acids. So what is important for us from the diabetes part is the glucose part of it. So the exocrine part of the pancreas, which releases amylase, converts your starch into glucose. So this glucose is what is important from the carbohydrate, and many a times they tell you don't eat carbohydrate rich diet, you don't take carbs, or you reduce carbs or follow a keto diet or totally avoid carbohydrate in the diabetic diet. But it's not that way when you do from a clinical perspective. So the endocrine part of the pancreas is important, that regulates the blood. The exocrine takes care of the digestion part and the endocrine takes care of the regulation part of it. How exactly the endocrine part regulates it? It has 2 hormones. There are other hormones also, but we will work only with this 2 for now. So the insulin part of it and the glucagon part of it. So these 2 hormones which are produced are important in managing your blood sugars. So that is your insulin and glucagon. So if you have a meal and once you eat, you get your body digests, that is exocrine part of it takes care, and there is blood sugar released into the body, and this, when the blood sugars level goes up, the pancreas will release insulin, and this insulin takes your blood glucose into the cells and it enters the liver, and from there it is distributed based on the requirement either to the muscles or for energy or any other requirements of the body. But when there is low blood sugar levels, the pancreas releases glucagon hormone, which stimulates the liver to release blood sugars. So whatever is stored in the liver as glycogen, the storage form of the blood sugars, it is released into the blood to manage the blood sugar levels. This is how the pancreas works. It has got dual function. One is the exocrine function, the other is the endocrine function. The exocrine function is the digestion part of it, and the endocrine function is the hormonal, that is the regulation of your blood sugars. So what exactly happens in case of diabetes? So in case of diabetes, it's like obvious, you have to eat and maintain your health. You need food for your energy, your growth, development, everything. So you're going to eat the food, the stomach digests, the intestine absorbs it and transports to the liver. And from the liver, the management of the blood sugar happens with the pancreatic enzymes. But in case of diabetes, the synthesis and function activity of the insulin would be altered. Either it is reduced or it is deficient. Either the synthesis is reduced or the functionality is reduced. So the blood sugar levels, or what you call as glucose, increases above normal level, that is above between more than 120 and 140. So the glucagon levels are also altered to meet the cell requirement of the glucose. Cell requirements for glucose, that is for energy level. So whatever stored in the body, be it in the muscles or the liver, it starts depleting. So your insulin function is reduced, one thing, but your glucagon functions is altered or increased. So what happens? The blood glucose present will be on the higher side in your blood, and alternatively you will be eating your food also, and the body stores also adds to the blood glucose. Means you already have blood glucose elevated because of the food, plus your stores also will start getting depleted. That's why most of the diabetic patients, if they don't manage their diabetes properly, you start seeing their hands and the calf muscles, the legs going thin and the arms also going thin. Because of this, because the circulating glucose level is on the higher side in most of the diabetic patients. So what we see is there are macro and micro complications. We'll not deal with these complications for now. I'm just going to help you out with the diabetes management, how effectively we can do it. So there are 4 areas which you need to concentrate. One is the food, the other is medication, exercise, medication, insulin, and monitoring. So what should be the diet? Most of us tell, yes, you have to have a diabetic diet. There is nothing called as a diabetic diet as per the studies. Technically, when we speak, okay, I want to give a diabetic diet, means it is pertaining to management of blood sugars. But the problem is quite a lot of, what do you say, like false information is being produced on the internet just to market self, or just to promote a product, or just to promote a supplement or something. And many of us get carried away with this, and we try to get the wrong thing into practice, and that is where the blood sugar starts unmanageable, and you start getting into the complication part of it. The exact diabetic diet is, you just have to manage only the balance. You have to just manage your diet in a balanced way. So to manage your diet in a balanced way, you need to have a healthy eating habit, a balanced diet. Each meal, food combination in each meal should be appropriate, and you include foods from all the food groups. You should not skip out any of the foods from any of the groups, so that you have variety in the diet. You don't miss on your micronutrients, you don't reduce your fiber intake, and you don't feel like you're eating sick. You are eating for a sick person. So you should have the, what do you call that, psychological aspect of nutrition, like you enjoy your meal and you don't make your meal sick. That is most important. So you include pulses and millets, legumes, cereals, then vegetables, fruits, milk products, oils, fat, sugar, jaggery, nuts, everything. Oh my God, sugar and jaggery for a diabetic patient, definitely you can have. I'm going to tell you how you should do it. So what you are going to do is, usually the pyramids, healthy eating pyramids, tell you should have good amount of cereals, vegetables, fruits, meat, egg, fish, milk products, and fatty. This would be a healthy format. But in case of diabetes, the only level changes is interchanges is between the fruits and the vegetables and your cereals. This level exchanges. The fruits, pulses, and vegetables and fruits come down, and the cereal preparations will go up. That is the only difference for a diabetic. So why cereals? Many say it's a big source of carbohydrate. Definitely, it contains around 50 to 75% of carbohydrate is present in any of the cereals, and it provides around average for 100 grams. If you take around 10 cereals, be it rice, wheat, jowar, ragi, bajra, including the millets, if you take any of the cereals, around 350 kilocalories of energy you are getting for 100 grams. and around 50 to 75% of carbohydrate is present. That is each source. If you consume, for example, if you take 4 rotis or a D cup size of rice or rice preparations, or 3 dosas or 4 idlis, whatever the combination you take, all of this will provide you around 100 gram of cereal carbohydrate. That much, around 60 to 70 gram of carbohydrate will be present. And remember one thing, don't cut down on carbohydrate, because your body needs a minimum of 150 grams of carbohydrate per day to maintain your brain activity, your cardiac activity, and your muscle activity. If you cut down on the carbohydrate just to manage your blood sugars, it is not going to help you. In turn, it is going to damage your biochemical functions. The physiological functions can get disturbed. So, and the other thing is, the cereals will provide you good amount of protein also. They don't contain fat in them. It's very negligible. Most of the cereals have just 1 gram of fat or less than that, and it has got good amount of soluble fiber. Phytonutrients are ample in the cereals and millets, so these can also help you in preventing your diseases. And good sources of water-soluble vitamins and minerals also. So it is very important you include adequate amount of cereals and pulses. Legumes and pulses also have contain good amount of calories, except soya, which gives you more than 425. Some of the varieties of soya gives you around 430 kilocalories per 100 gram, and it has got high fat and high protein content. Around 38 grams of protein and 38 grams of fat is present in soya. That is the reason why you have high calorie in case of soya. But soya is promoted telling that it is good and high protein hai, but it also has got high fat content and high calorie also. Definitely you can include in your diet, but not too much of it. The rest of the pulses provide you an approximate similar to the cereals, but the carbohydrate load is less than 50%, 50-55% is present in case of pulses and legumes, and protein can be anywhere between 16 to 20% per 100 gram. So these pulses, add variety into the pulses in your meal so that you get good amount of fiber, soluble, insoluble micronutrients, and digestibility of the fiber. I mean, pulse and legume carbohydrate, it is slow compared to the cereal one. So when it comes to food combination, it is very important for a diabetic to have a proper combination so that it reduces your, you should have a sustained release of glucose, which is very important. So sustained release of glucose means that digestion should be little slow, in a moderate, not fast digestion. And the other thing is fiber should be adequate so that it controls the digestive speed. And the other thing is, the more the fiber containing food products you include in a diet, it not only adds to the fiber and sustained release of blood glucose and management of blood glucose, it also reduces your total calorie intake. It also provides a good amount of calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and many other phytonutrients, which are very important, including chromium, which are very important in managing your diabetes also. And sometimes what happens, the medications given to manage the diseases can also have an effect in leaching or depleting these micronutrients. So when you have a combination of foods and more of this, I'm just using this as a sample meal so that you get an idea what type of diet or what combinations you should have. So combination, I've just given you the quantity of cereals should be little less so that the total carbohydrate load is controlled. Rest of the things like your milk and milk products, then your vegetables, then your salads, then your pulses, then your greens or other vegetables, then you have the legumes also here. So this way your combination should be a meal combination which can help you in managing diabetes as well as obesity also, as well as controlling cardiovascular diseases. The only most important thing is, in case of cardiovascular disease, you would be reducing little oil and reducing little salt. But food combination, what I mean to say, if you take a South Indian or a North Indian thali, if you are from a Indian continent, so you can reduce the sweet and the fried stuff and the pickle, and if the papad, if it is fried, if it is roasted, fried. Rest everything which comes in that meal can be a balanced one. Sorry, can balance your meal. So balancing a meal and adding variety and adding variety and preventing monotony can make you feel you're going to enjoy your meal also. You don't feel sick or diseased also. And on top of it, you will be able to control your diabetes, weight, and hypertension also. So this is an appropriate combination where you have food from all the 5 food groups. I mean to say you have cereals, you have pulses here, legumes here, vegetables here, milk and milk products, everything. So you have everything in combination, a balanced meal. But if you see these combination, these are not balanced. Though there is a variety in the diet, but still it is not balanced. By looking at the meal plate itself, you can understand. So most of these are sweets, and you may end up having high calories and weight part of it. Once in a while eating may not affect. If you are a routine eater and frequency is often like maybe 4 times in a week you eat sweets, or 5 times in a week, or with every meal you want to have a sweet, that can have an effect on your total calorie load and weight also. And total calorie and weight also. And this combination here also, you can say it's a puri or a bread with some chutney and curries. So that can also, this is also not a balanced meal or proper combination. And fiber load in this meal, if you are looking, it's not adequate enough. And though it is sustained release, because fat digestion is delayed, it's always slow. The blood sugars may not shoot up when you take more fat in the diet. That is how these keto diets are promoted. And when you take a keto diet, your blood sugars will not shoot up. But there are other problems which I'll be discussing in the next slide. But in case here in this, if you see, you have sweet also. Sometimes the rice quantity is more. And again, one more serving of rice, different varieties of rice. But the vegetable composition is less compared to non-veg and the rice cereal part of it. This also adds to a lot of calorie load as well as the blood sugars also. So if it is hypertension, the only thing what you have to do is reduce on salt and oils a little bit. Apart from that, if you improve on the vegetables and fruits and vegetables, that itself can manage your hypertension to a greater extent because of the phytonutrients and the fiber load present, plus the magnesium, calcium, the phosphorus, and many of those micronutrients which are present in this fruits and vegetables can help control your cardiovascular disease apart from hypertension. Just for hypertension, salt reduction can bring down quite a drastic change in the hypertensive levels. Now, the facts and the facts about managing diabetes. Of late, I'm coming across a lot of intermittent fasting, keto diets, diabetes is curable, reversible, then vegan diet or low carb diets, bitter gourd juices, neem juices, curry juices, whatnot, then surgeries also, metabolic surgeries. So intermittent fasting, like you eat for some hours, you don't eat. What happens is you take a meal and again you take either small quantity or you take only protein rich foods and you fast for some hours. This also lands up you into trouble because when you're not eating, your body has to produce adequate amount of glucose to maintain normal blood sugar levels as well as the energy levels. So for that purpose, what happens? The glucagon, if you just remember in the earlier slides, I mentioned about glucagon. This glucagon has to work more. As such, in diabetic patient, the glucagon is active compared to a normal person. It is on the slightly on the higher side. So intermittent fasting means the glucagon has to function more so that it works on the stores. Whatever stores you have, the fat stores or the glycogen stores has to be mobilized and the body starts breaking down these for glucose level. So you are doing the reverse physiological process for in case of intermittent fasting. And in case of diabetes, what I mean to say is like if you already your cycle, your physiological cycles, I mean the biochemistry cycles, like your glycolysis cycle, your gluconeogenesis cycle, lipogenesis cycle, many of these cycles would have been altered. And in relation to that, when you are fasting, your gluconeogenic cycle has to work more. So that will put you into trouble on the long run. So it's a mismanagement. You have to balance your physiological cycles in a balanced way and not to go in for intermittent fasting under any circumstance. Keto diets, again, here, they promote more of fat and sometimes protein, and they try to reduce the carbohydrate in the diet to 10 to 20%. Actually, 20% means if you are a 1600, if you require 1600 kilocalories of diet in a day and you require around 300 grams of carbohydrate, you'll be getting only around 60 grams, 40 to 60 grams of carbohydrate in a meal. But you require around 150 grams minimum to maintain your physiological functions like your brain, your cardiac, and your muscle activity. You need minimum 150 grams. So if you are reducing it to 20 to 30%, like reducing it to less than 20%, it's not going to help. And most diabetic patients will end up losing their muscle mass, as well as the whole physiological function also changes. They do come with quite a lot of complications. And I just don't want to mention what all complications we get because of these keto diets. And the other thing is, many patients, if they are not managing their blood sugars properly, they are prone to urine urine thresholds, and ketone formation also can be seen if they are not meeting up their energy requirements. The stores are broken down and fat mobilization occurs, and ketone formation also can be seen. The drawback thing in keto diets is no patients are tested for the ketone levels. And second thing is, no urine ketone levels are being assessed in diabetic patients when they go on keto diets. So going on keto diets has its own problems. So we don't advocate clinically keto diets. Then diabetes, some of the claims are like diabetes is curable, it is reversible. But still, research needs to be adequate enough and sound and sustainable, and it should be in such a way that somebody can stand and say, yes, it is curable and reversible, because diabetes is a metabolic disorder. One of the functional aspect of your metabolism has been hampered or it is disturbed. So reversing it means you have to have a normal insulin level, or either even in these reversible and curable diabetic methods, whichever is employed online or anybody is doing, they do follow a diet where they reduce the carbohydrate load and include more of fiber load in the diet, just to show that your blood sugars are under control and your diabetes is manageable and your HbA1c levels are within normal limit. But actually, diabetes currently, as of now, is not curable. Then vegan diets, converting into vegetarian, not to take any milk products, then reduction of so many things. Even the root vegetables are being avoiding. All these things doesn't help you, because you will end up having micronutrient deficiencies, sometimes even fiber deficiencies, calcium deficiencies. As such, vegetarians have iron and calcium deficiencies, and getting into vegan will become anemic also. And if a diabetic person is on metformin, definitely they will end up having B12 deficiency. Unfortunately, it is not monitored. And if you are a diabetic on metformin, I would humbly request you to keep monitoring your vitamin B12 levels and folate levels, because this medication metformin depletes vitamin B12 and folate. On the long run, you will become anemic. So if you are going into vegan diets, definitely this would be another added risk factor to becoming severe anemic also. And bone loss also is one of the problems with vegan diets and diabetes. So again, vegan diets will not be advised. So low carb diet. Low carb means we need to quantify how much should be low. But in uncontrolled diabetes, we may bring it down to 40%. 40% of the total calories. So like I mentioned, if you are taking around 1600 calorie diet and you need around 300 grams of carbohydrate, I would rather bring it to around 200 grams of carbohydrate per day. And when you are reducing carbohydrate load, obviously you have to increase the fat load and the protein load. So how much quantity of fat increment would be advisable again, and how much protein increment is advisable, that also needs to be looked at. As such, some patients, if they have not managed their blood sugars on the long run, they might have urine microl, I mean to say the renal parameters, slightly towards the renal complication. So diabetes related nephropathy would already been initiated in case if they have not managed, and this could create problem if you are increasing the protein load in the diet. So and reducing carbohydrates. So again, how much carbohydrate quantifying is very important. Age, physical activity, type of diet, and if there are any risk factors for any complication, that also should be taken into consideration before reducing any of the micronutrient or even the macronutrient. And some of the fat diets, like you take bitter gourd juice or neem juice or curry juice, which is bitter and which can kill the sugar in the diet, all that doesn't happen, doesn't work, because this is not related to diet, it is related to metabolism. I mean to say, the one of the functional aspect of your physiological function within the body is not working adequately. Surgeries also, metabolic surgeries are there, quite a lot of bariatric surgeries are there, which tells you can lose weight as well as your blood sugars will come to control. Unfortunate, they do come with quite a lot of complications, micronutrient complications. Your digestion efficacy comes down, the quantity of food, just to target the quantity of food intake to be reduced, or if they want to remove the fat or reduce the weight or control the cardiac parameters or diabetes, if surgeries are performed on the long run, these patients come with quite a lot of problems if they are not managed before surgery. So it's very important. The bitter truth is the surgeries do come with quite a lot of complications. And things like the facts is intermittent fasting, keto diet, diabetes is curable. All this doesn't help the patients in any way. Short duration, you might see some results and you feel, yes, it is happening, but unfortunately, that doesn't happen. There is something else happening within your system which doesn't work out according to your physiological health management. So what happens within the body needs to be looked properly before you take a diet. And my request is, don't go on for Google diets, whatever you get on the Google, don't go on WhatsApp diets. Please don't use Instagram, Twitter diets and all. You properly meet a registered dietitian or a clinical dietitian, whoever is available in your accessible within your healthcare systems. Given your information about your health complete, including your blood parameters, your eating habits, your lifestyles, your do's and don'ts, and how much you are compliant with the diet. Most patients are not compliant. That is one of the biggest drawback we have. So they do follow the diet for a short duration, and after sometimes they forget that they have to follow it for life in case of diabetic patients. So that is one of the drawback we have. And these diets, what we give for a diabetic or a cardiac, it's not short term, it is lifetime management. So I wish you all a happy life ahead and manage your life as well as diet in a simple way. Keep it simple, that should be good. Just simple, include good amount of fiber foods, include cereals, balance your diet, keep quantity moderate or little less. That should be fine. Drink adequate water like everyone says, but don't over drink. What is required, that much should be enough. Thank you so much. Thank you, Samya. Thank you, Professor Sam. Thank you all for giving me an opportunity.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you very much for actually emphasizing on how to balance the diet, especially for both diabetic as well as hypertensive patients. We do have some queries. I think we do know that you have some urgent meeting, but then I know that we could take at least 3 to 4 quick questions that are here. Now, the first thing is, if somebody has to cheat or cheat diet, would you give them some tips? Let's say somebody has gone out, a wedding, or there is a party. What can they do? What are some of the ideas you would like to share with them?
Definitely. I love cheating diet because I do it quite a lot. So cheating diets, so you have gone for take an Indian wedding. I'll just give an example. Recently, we had a festival. You just go for a festival. We'll just take a festival where you prepare this puran poli, or what you call it as obottu in South India. So when the sweet is prepared at home using either a cereal or a pulse or a milk or something, it is fine. There is no objection in consuming. But what quantity you consume? For example, if you take a obottu, I'm just giving one example, a sweet pancake sort of thing, what we prepare. I always advise my patient, you want to eat a obottu, okay, fine, you take one with a lot of vegetable preparation with it. Don't take any of the cereal, no, neither the rice or the puris or something else. Just the sweet obetu with lot of vegetable. Maybe it might be your salad or sabji or your kosumri or khichdi, whatever you call this. With that, you take it. That adds to the fiber. And the quantity of what you take as obetu should be a small one so that you have a pleasure of eating it. Then I would advise them to give 2 hours of break and then have the next meal, what they want, the rice and other things. But still, some of us have a tendency to eating little more of sweet. So my humble request is like, don't go for the artificial sweeteners because they have a lot of other complication. And nowadays, again, though they say it is OTC, it is safe, it's not fine and safe. What I advise is you take up stevia. Stevia, don't go for the stevia powder. Again, it is chemically processed. Grow a plant in your garden or in your kitchen or on the window also you can just grow, like how we grow our tulsi. So I have a small plant also, stevia, which I keep for my dad. So that small plant, 1 or 2 leaves is enough to make your sweet a real sweet dish. That should be more than enough. And you can use it in your preparations, be it your jamun, be it your cake, be it your whatever you want. And definitely you can enjoy.
Is it stuck? The video is stuck?
Yeah, she's
Yes.
frozen, I think.
Preena, is it raining in Bangalore?
No, not really.
Yeah, because we did hear that she said there is some issue. Yeah, she has lost the connection. There's a network issue she has messaged. She'll just try to reconnect. So we'll go back to that. But to our participants, it's good to know that there are so many facts that are followed.
Sorry,
and then today we have cleared it. Ma'am, welcome back. So I think I'll quickly, are you able to hear me, ma'am? I think again.
Sorry, I lost connection in between.
Yes,
Network
you're able to
issue.
hear me now?
Yeah, fine.
Okay. There's a quick question. There's 2 more questions we'll take and then we'll wind up. There is one question which says, could you please briefly explain about endocrine disrupting chemicals and how it affects the insulin levels?
See, there are endocrine disrupting chemicals are totally different. We'll not speak about because it's more of other part of the discussion. Like, so some of them, if you are thinking of chemicals, no, whatever you eat, what we say, this happens usually in pregnancy and lactation, or whenever you are on some treatment and some medications are being given, that can have an impact on the chemicals from the medicines or during the maternal state. If you have some medications or if you take some herbal and other supplements or foods which contain chemicals, that can have an impact on this. So we'll not work on that part of the thing. Like, so the endocrine insulin management, definitely you can manage it. Like if you are physically active, I mean to say, if you have a, there was one Dr. Rajesh who used to always tell, the more you walk, the better your heart is and the better your energy is. So the heart, I mean to say, not the physical heart, we speak about the calf muscles. The calf are called the 2 hearts of your health. So if you use your calf muscles, taking them as 2 heart, 1 heart for your blood sugars and the other heart for your real heart. So if you use both the calf muscles, definitely you can maintain your blood sugars, your weight, your insulin levels, everything. We have done a small study on some 92 patients, asking them to take a walk around and see whether the insulin improves or not, whether the blood sugar controls or not. And definitely it worked out. It improves anywhere between 2% to 3.7% of 30 minutes walk, a brisk walk. So your insulin levels can improve with your walk. So please walk. And your blood pressure also drops from minimum 10 mm Hg anywhere to 15 mm Hg with a half an hour brisk walk, I mean to say. And it should be.
Thank you for emphasizing that, actually, because through MERG, we just started the 10K walkathon. So I hope, our participants will be more now there'll be more enthusiasm there. Yes. Especially you spoke about insulin now. So thank you. Last question for the session. Now we know that fruits. People have a feeling that fruits are something that shouldn't be eaten by diabetics. Now there is a question: is consumption of sweet fruits help manage sugar, or will it increase the sugar levels? Can you please answer on this?
Definitely. If you take fruits, like if you are eating the fruit with the skin, there is no harm. How much of sugar does the fruit give? Except some ripe ones. Not all the fruits will have that much of carbohydrate. Average mean, if you are taking 100 gram of any of the fruit, it gives somewhere between 20 to 30 grams of carbohydrate maximum, I'm speaking. There might be an exception like avocado, which gives more of fat. So leaving avocado, rest of the fruits, I don't mean to say don't eat avocado, please have it. It is little good in fat, cell component fat, what we call it as, and it can prevent some forms of cancer also. But fruits as such, definitely you can eat. There is no harm in it. With skin, if you are eating, it is good. And please don't try eating pineapple with the skin. So you have to peel and eat it. Small quantity of that is fine. And any fruit, like if you're taking apple, pear, guava, plums, so many cherries are not. So you organize yourself. For example, if I want to say it, give you an idea, like if you're standing in a fruit stall in a supermarket, you'll have n number of varieties of fruits. Try to eat each of those fruits in a week time and see how much you can incorporate in your diet. How many varieties of fruit? If I ask someone to name few fruits, usually it is apple, papaya, watermelon, banana, muskmelon. What about the rest of the fruits? If you just put your eyes, you may be able to see some 70 to 80 varieties of fruits if you just stroll around. There might be some rare fruits also. So you have to see how many of this you can eat in a week or a 15 days time. And you can feel the difference after trying out all these things. Not only it adds to variety, it makes you psychologically feel better because you're not eating sick. You're trying to eat everything. That is one thing. And the more colorful your food is, the more happy you are. And you will not, definitely I'll tell you, not because we have worked on this nutrition psychology with some of the patients, that we are not feeling we are sick, we are getting to eat everything, and everywhere, wherever we go, we get to eat something or the other, which is within the normal diabetic regimen, diet regimen or something. Vegetables also, if you just tell like, pick up green leafy vegetables, you may see like 1 or 2 or 3 of them. But when you stand in front of a green shop, you will see hundreds of varieties. We may not be knowing the names of those also. So what I mean to say is, don't avoid fruits just because somebody told it will increase your blood sugars. Don't avoid fruits and vegetables. Eat adequate amount of that and add variety into your diet. Today, if you have eaten an apple, tomorrow you try out a mosambi or an orange or a papaya. Like that, you just go on including variety so that you don't repeat that one thing. If you're not repeating frequently and you're trying to have variety, that way your carbohydrate load will not be there, because each fruit will have a different carbohydrate load and calorie load. It might come with 100 calories, some might come with only 20 calories, some might come with 5 grams of carbohydrate, some might come with 10 grams. So the variety makes you feel better, more nutrition, more vitamins, more minerals, more fiber, and you will feel better. The feeling itself will reduce most of the disease. That experiment we have done with many of them. When you give a diet to a patient and tell you follow it, the patient looks at it because it becomes sick for them. Seeing the diet chart itself is sick. Because the first idea a patient gets is, how many don'ts I have. The list of don'ts should be the minimum, or there should be no don'ts only. So we always tell you, just reduce little salt and you eat everything. You just reduce little oil, but you can still eat everything. So that makes you feel happy. See, taking the pleasure out of eating is not a dietitian's job. It should not be also. So you advise people to eat healthy, moderate quantity, add variety in your diet and enjoy your meals. The more you enjoy your meals, the lesser disease you will get. So when you are eating your meal, you enjoy, you feel the taste of that food, you enjoy it. Rather than eating in a hurry-burry or shouting at someone or over the mobile or over the TV, just enjoy that, feel that color, feel that taste, feel that appetite, everything. You feel the food and eat. How many of you really enjoy your meals? I'm sure most of you won't be doing. You'll be busy discussing, talking over the phone. Just for a day, at least today's night dinner, you just feel that food, see the colors, enjoy the combination. क्या क्या गया है इस खाने में, इस meal में बनाने. You enjoy that, you will understand so many things. Your body works in a different way when you do that for some time.